Hey, this is Stacia, and today we're going to do a Stacia miniature. So, this game I think went pretty well. Um, it was a French to French Tarrasch variation where my opponent brings their queen out a little bit early, but that is totally normal for this variation, by the way. But black then has to be careful about where they place their queen because if white gets a couple tempos on that queen, a huge initiative and attack can happen. So we're going to see that happen in this game. So let's have a look at it. E4, E6, D4, D5. So we have a French defense. If you don't know this, the idea of the French is that black would like to play D5. If they do this right away, they would have to take back with a queen. Well, I guess you don't have to. You can play knight f6. But this is a Scandinavian variation. So they actually play e6 in order to play d5. And then when we do this, now if the pawn is captured, they can take back with a pawn. So that's a little tidbit of why the French is played. So in the game, I played knight to d2. And this is the Tarrasch variation. It's designed to put the knight on f3, the other knight on e2, and this helps protect what will be our weak pawn on d4. And if you're like Stacia, that's not weak. What are you talking about? You even have c3. Well, that's true, but a lot of times black will go c5, we go c3, and then after takes, you can see that the d pawn is the weakness in the white camp. So there you go. Let's continue. So I'm used to the move knight f6. This goes into the closed Tarrasch because we play e5 here, and now you can see that, this is pretty closed now. They would go knight d7, and we go from here. But in the open Tarrasch, they play c5 right away. So that does attack my d pawn. Now, I know the move is knight g to f3, so I'm putting this knight here instead of this knight. And now a lot of times they take on d4. So I think that happens in the game. And rather than taking back, I know the move to be e takes d5, which I do like a lot. I mean, if we take back here, this doesn't look all that appealing to me, right? Like, black looks solid. I don't think they're going to have too much trouble getting their bishop out. I mean, they could even play b6 or something. And the knights look vulnerable here. There's pawn pushes. We have to make sure they stay defended. So I actually kind of like black here, and I'm going to ask the engine. Okay, the engine likes white. So I guess white is fine here. White's a little better even. So instead of taking this pawn, black should go knight c6 here. Now black is a little better. Yeah, develop instead of capturing a pawn. Makes a lot of sense, right? And this knight's actually under attack, so we don't have time to take here or anything, or even develop. Oh, we could do this though. We could do this, but then bishop d7, and already the French bishop is in the game. So black's equal here. Okay, pretty interesting. Now let's get back to the main game. So after knight g to f3 takes, I like to take here. This is what I did. And now I do believe the main line is that the queen will take, and I'll check the opening book. Yeah, queen takes. Okay, so here's the queen out early, like we were saying. Now, the main move here is bishop to c4, which I like a lot. So now we are developing a piece and attacking the queen. And now the queen usually goes to d6, but she could also go to d7 is another line, and d8. So I guess anywhere on the d file is good. All right, so my opponent did play this. It's funny because I thought it looked suspicious during the game because I have this knight e4 idea. But I simply castled, which is the main line, and he played e5. Okay, so I think e5 is a blunder. So if you want to pause your video and find the best move for white, go ahead and do so now. Okay, I'm checking with the engine. My move is the best one, but it likes two other moves as well. If you said rook e1 or knight to e4, those are both also good. But the best move by far to me is knight takes e5. Because it's not really protected. If you were to take the knight, rook e1 loses the queen. So that's not recommended. So he actually can't really take. And if he can't take, then, you know, this is a problem. Don't want to lose f7, so he played this move, knight to h6. So now I have ideas to take that knight and then take on f7. So I played knight d to f3, opening up the bishop. And also this protects the knight, although we still don't need to protect it because of queen takes knight rook e1. All right, so he played bishop to e6, which makes sense. He's trying to block that off. And so how do we proceed from here? We've got a good position. I really liked my move here. I played the move rook e1, which I do see the engine likes. Now, the idea behind this move is if he wants to take our knight or our bishop on c4, then we play knight takes c4 check, and that's going to win the queen. So I like this. Yeah, it just says like queen e6 is the best move. So I might not even take right away because I'm mean. I might play something else like this. So I thought rook e1 is really nice. And of course, this is just desirable. We're getting the rook on an open file lined up with the king. So this is, you know, an overwhelming position. So he went bishop to e7. Now, if he takes, you know, it won't be a check like before. And okay, I think here we have options, but I decided to go ahead and make black's king unsafe permanently with this move. And I think it's okay. I mean, usually you don't want to give up a bishop for a knight, but I think, you know, here it's different because look how active white is. Everything's active, you know, everything's, you know, it's just a very active position, and black's king is in the center and their rooks are in the corner and their knight's still blocking their rooks. So if you've studied a lot of Morphy games like me, Paul Morphy, then you know that you can even sacrifice material in positions like this because these pieces are not in the game at all. And if you checkmate, it doesn't really matter if you're down material. So doing something like bishop takes knight is definitely on the table. And I do see the engine likes it. Alrighty, and after that, I took the bishop. I couldn't find anything better. Engine does like it. I mean, it's kind of black's best piece. So let's take it off. And I thought this is also nice because if he takes with the F pawn, then we have a new diagonal to work with. And I like this idea. And if he takes with the queen, you know, we're going to have discoveries with the knight. And we could also just take on d4. So I actually thought, you know, this doesn't look so good. Oh yeah, maybe even this, just take the queen right away. That seems reasonable. Yeah, I like this a lot. So, okay. But in the game, he took with a pawn. And now I wanted to take on d4. But we have to decide, do we want to take with a knight or do we want to take with a queen? I mean, here's the thing. Why on earth would we want to take with a queen? I'm sure this is winning. But whose king is safer? The white king or the black king? So we don't want to trade queens. So taking with the knight is by far the best move, I thought, because now the knight's not in the way of this idea. And then if you noticed, we have a knight on e5 and f7 is going to be hit. So this looks very overwhelming. He tried to develop his last piece, but unfortunately it's kind of too late. We go queen h5 check. And this looks very brutal now. He would love to come to d7, but that's covered. He would love to come to d8, but that will blunder his queen. And if he goes this way, that blunders mate. So I think it's just over here. King d8's the best move. And of course I did do this during the game. Yeah, because look, the other way is just mate. So knights on e5 are really strong, and queens on h5 are really strong, especially when there's no f-pawn. So yeah, I think, you know, this game shows the vulnerability of the queen in these lines where the queen comes out early. So if you're going to play lines like this as black, you need to be very mindful of what you're doing with your queen. So d6 was correct. Yeah, and it was just this move was the game-losing move pretty much. Yeah, e5. Let's see what he should have did instead. Probably knight c6 or something, I would imagine. So I'll check the opening book. Yeah, in the opening book, it just says knight f6 or even knight c6 looks okay. So knight f6, you know, develop that king side as quickly as possible. That's how he should have played. And then the main line is just knight b3. White's trying to get back the pawn. And after knight c6, white does get back the pawn. That's pretty much how this goes. So knight takes, a6, and then rook e1. And I would think bishop e7 here. But actually queen c7 is the move, tempo on the bishop, and the bishop drops back. And we're 12 moves into the main line here. And, well, yeah, and this is called the Shishjakov modern line of the open Tarrasch. So, yeah, in the game, my opponent just had a huge oversight that he couldn't play you just can't play this move. It is very desirable, right? I mean, you would love to protect this pawn. And I've seen opponents try to do this in a better way. Like probably with knight c6 in first. I've seen them do that. And, you know, probably you can play that way. I don't know. But it's risky, though, when your queen is your developed piece out early. And your king's in the center. It's definitely risky. So yeah, this just won the game right here on move. What move is this? Move 8. So I hope you enjoyed the Stacia miniature, and I'll be back with more chess. Okay, bye.